Alrighty, hello and welcome. Today we're going to load a roll of film into the Ricoh KR-10 Super. The first thing we're going to do is put batteries in it because this camera is completely battery dependent and it won't work without a good set of batteries. So we're going to open up the battery door, which is right here. Take any coin, pretty much any coin will do, and just going to unscrew the battery door until here we go. Until it opens up like so. Alrighty, and so now we have the battery carrier. And I doubt you can see this clearly on the video, but on this battery carrier there is in fact a little mark with a positive symbol right here indicating that the positive terminal of the battery goes on top and the negative terminal goes down. So on your this camera takes either LR44 alkaline or SR76 silver oxide batteries, and they will be marked. One side will have some writing on it and a plus symbol, and the other side will be blank. And so the side with the plus symbol goes up like so. Here we go. You see the side with the writing and the plus symbol. It goes up like so. All right. So now the batteries are in the battery carrier, and now we're going to reinsert this back into the camera like so. And we're going to gently tighten the battery door. Don't be too rough with it. I usually just turn it with my fingers like so until I feel a little bit of resistance. Then take the coin and give it turn it gently until you feel some resistance, and there, that's good enough. Do not over tighten. Do not over tighten the battery door. You can strip the threads easily. These are not particularly strong and robust parts of the camera. So the batteries are in. Now what do we do? Okay, well, let's take a look at the top of the camera. You see the shutter speed dial here. L is lock. If the shutter speed dial is on L, then the shutter is locked out. Now, in order to load the film, we're going to have to advance it a couple frames to get it properly loaded. So I can't have the camera on L. Likewise, I don't want it on automatic because I've got the lens cap on the lens, and if I press the shutter release with the lens cap on the lens like so, then the light meter is not getting any light, and it's going to default to the longest shutter speed time, which on this camera is 16 seconds, which is quite a bit. And I'll have to wait 16 seconds for the shutter to fire before I advance to the next frame, and I don't want to do that. So when I'm loading film on an automatic camera like this, I generally select a shutter speed like 250, 125, 500, something like that, whatever, so I won't have to wait forever for the shutter to function as I'm advancing the film. Okay, so now what? Now we want to open the back of the camera. And on this model, it's fairly typical of cameras of this era. We're just going to pull up on the rewind knob. So let's see here, make sure you can see that. I'm just going to take the rewind knob and pull, and ta-da, it opens. Okay, now we open up to the back of the camera like so. And next step, get our film. Here's our roll of film. Now, some people say you should take the leader. This part of the film here is called the leader, and some people say you should insert the leader and then pull it across the back and then insert the film cartridge into the cartridge area here. Other people insert the cartridge first and then pull the leader across. It really doesn't matter. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I was trained to put the cartridge in first, so that's what I'm going to do. So again, in order to insert the cartridge, I need to make sure that this is up and out of the way. So that's up. Insert the cartridge, put that back down. Okay. Now I'm going to pull the leader across, and I'm going to insert it into one of these slats. It doesn't matter which one. Any of these slots should do just fine. And I'm going to advance. And there we go. Okay, and I want to make sure that the holes are aligned with the gear. So I'm going to go ahead and fire a shot and advance it just to make sure that I've got it's fastened properly over here, and that these gear teeth are protruding through the perforations as I want it to. So here we go, like so. All right, excellent. So I can see here that the gear teeth are protruding through the perforations. I can see that the film is wrapped around the take-up spool, and so it is properly fastened and secured. Now I'm going to I'm also going to take the the rewind knob here, and I'm going to turn it like so, clockwise in this direction, and I'm going to do that just to take up any slack in here. And the reason I'm doing that, this is kind of an optional step, but the reason that I do it is that I want to see this rotate as I advance the film, because that will confirm for me that the film is properly loaded and is advancing properly. So turn that, you see there, and I'll take up the slack. You can see as I turn, there is some movement on the film in the back, indicating that there's no slack in the cartridge. Okay, now we're going to shut the back of the film, shut the back of the camera, like so. That's it. That's all there is to it. And I need to advance to, you see the frame counter is on S. I want that to be on 0, or right before the 1. So I'm going to advance 2 frames. There, 1, and you see, there we go, and 1 more. And watch this here, this is going to rotate. There, okay. So the fact that that's rotating confirms for me that the film has been properly loaded. The film counter indicator is indicating just right before the number 1 frame, and that's what I want. So very good. So now I'm going to put this back on L to lock out the shutter, so that it doesn't accidentally go off, and I'm ready to use the camera. When I do use this camera, is kind of neat because it has the button in the front to activate the light meter. So when you look through the viewfinder, all you got to do is press this button right here, and it will activate the meter, and you can see the readout on the right-hand side of the viewfinder. The shutter speeds are displayed with a black bar. That black bar is a liquid crystal display bar, which goes up and down depending upon the amount of light and the aperture that you set, and you activate that with this button right here. And when you see that happening, well, you're ready to shoot. That's all there is to it. Well, actually, that's not all there is to it. Excuse me. I need to set the ISO. So I'm shooting Ilford Pan 100 today. However, I like to shoot this film at an exposure index of 50 and develop it in Perceptol. That's just how I like to shoot that film. So I'm going to lift here's the film speed dial here, and I'm going to lift this edge of the dial, and I'm going to put the indicator mark on 50. Oops. There we go. Put that on 50 right like so. Okay. Now you see that I accidentally, as I was doing that, I accidentally knocked the register off of, or knocked it off of 0 over here. So this is the exposure compensation function. And really it probably should have a locking button on it to prevent accidental use, but it doesn't. So be careful as you're setting the ISO or ASA or film speed that you don't accidentally knock the exposure compensation function off of 0. That is unless that's your intention. So there you go. So that's on 0, that's on 50, and now I'm ready to go. When I'm done, when you get to the end of the roll, don't force it. Do not, once you feel some you're at frame 36. You see frame 36, or maybe some rolls of film you can get a 37 or 38 frame. It just depends. But once you get to the end of the roll, be careful as you advance. Don't strong arm the advance lever. Be very gentle with it. Once you feel some resistance and you're towards the end of the roll, that means you're at your last exposure. Do not apply any further force. You could break the advance mechanism. You could tear the film. You don't want to do that. So just put the advance lever back like so. On the bottom of the camera is this button here. You're going to push that button, which will allow you to rewind the film. Once that button is pressed, then the mechanism which prevents film from moving backward has been disengaged, and you can now deploy the rewind crank, which is right here, and you're going to turn the rewind crank in this direction, in clockwise direction, and rewind the film like so. And you will feel when it releases from the take-up spool. There will be a tactile sensation once you reach the end of as you're turning this. There will be a tactile sensation once you reach the end of the roll, and it frees up and the leader pulls free of the take-up spool. Once you feel that, rewind it back into the cartridge, and then you can open up the back of the camera and remove your film. All right, I think that about covers it. All right, happy shooting. Enjoy. Take care. Bye-bye.